I have touched on this in the previous slides, and what this is about is more to say, okay, well, how we use these deities. I have mentioned that in order to understand what they do for us and what the emphasis of them are, we can go and study that. We can go and get that information from books, from the internet, from religious texts. So if you want to go and learn more about deities, you can go and read about them in the text. The other part of it is if you already subscribe to some religion, if you have religious beliefs, then the religious beliefs that are close to you, those would be very beneficial because then you would know the deities more closely. You would know what they would be about and so on. If you part of the Christian religion, Jesus is a very obvious choice and very easy to work with. You can go for the Holy Ghost as well if you feel drawn to that. So there is many different options that you can do based on what you already know. And if there is something that you have an interest in, say for instance like the Egyptian gods or Nordic gods or gods from ancient Greece or any of those, then or Middle East or the Far East or so, then you can go and read up on them, see what it's about. You can also go to religious leaders if you want to, or people that have different faiths, and you can speak to them. I speak to a lot of people in Africa regarding their traditional beliefs. Sadly, they've really fallen away from that, and I think the culture generally of African people, sadly, is going extinct, and this is a really sad thing because they have a very spiritual, um, very spiritual kind of life, and in general, and they are actually people that live very closely to the ideals of spirituality, and it's really a pity that they don't uphold it because this would really be good, just generally for the whole world. In fact, it's not really going into a very great direction right now, anyway. You can then read up about it and know more about these ones. The other thing is that you can also understand that you don't have to stick to your own religion itself. There's no process for guessing that I really have a strong connection to ancient Egypt, and for that reason, the Egyptian gods is something that I do have an affinity for. And here you can see I've depicted Isis, and you can call on Isis to persist in different situations. And what I would like you to do is to, in a case where you really have a problem or problematic situation where you feel like it is worth it to call in a deity, a lot of the times this would be something that maybe people request that you take some action on what you've discovered in a reading, more in a healing or so, and that they ask you to do something that you don't really have any clue about, something that seems a little bit above you. Then what you can do is you can ask for the guidance and assistance of a deity, and when you do so, then trust that they will be there and assist you with whatever you need to. I have been in a situation like this where we reached a stalemate, and we've called in Jesus, and things dramatically changed, and everything worked out pretty well. So this is where you deal with people that typically have fairly large problems. I've also said about angels the same thing, that you call in deities, angels, you call them the heavy guns when you have heavy firing to do. So it's not just for every day. It is good to know about this. And in the class, what we'll do is we'll discover a little bit about what we can do in a reading, and maybe get some guidance from one of the um, entities that you connect to, and read from that perspective and see, well, what is it that they would then, what advice would they offer, or what kind of a reading, or what they would offer you on your reading screen, based that comes from them specifically. So we'll do that in the practical classes.